Good afternoon, good morning, good night to all of you rebels out there. We have our monthly get together for Rebel Toolbox, and we have Marcel,
Hello.
and my name is Daniela. As often, I will hand over to Marcel initially for his update, given that he's on the technical side, and that is obviously the more important side of things right now.
So the main area I've been working at, following on from last month, is the Rebel SDK and the first external library, which is the Rebel SQLite library for databases in your games. So if you want to use a database in your games, you can use SQLite, and we've created an external library that you can plug into any of your games and have the database available, and you can basically open the database, call the database, query the database, save everything to the database using simple GDScript lines as you would do with any other bit of code. So that has been tested and is working on Windows, Linux, and on Android. In fact, we have one of our own games running with the SQLite library deployed on Google Playstore. So it's in the wild. SQLite library is in the wild. I haven't merged or submitted the pull request to actually create the SQLite library because I want to complete the testing on the other platforms. Specifically, I want to get the web platform working properly because that's the one area that hasn't worked in the past, and it would be really useful to have working because a lot of people deploy their games as web games, and to have the external libraries working on web games would be important. I don't have a Mac device to be able to test on Mac OS, or for that matter on iPhone OS. I know that there are a few technical challenges with the iPhone OS and getting external libraries working there, so it'd be really useful if we could get anybody who has a Mac OS or is developing on Mac OS who's interested in helping test these libraries to get in touch so that we can get those tested on those platforms as well. But yeah, it's really good news that we've got the library working out in the wild, and the best bit is that if you want to create your own, you can use the SQLite library as a demonstration of how easy it is to add your libraries to Rebel Engine. So the build file for your external library is basically your external library and the Rebel SDK as a library that can be built separately or as part of the actual build process by importing the build file from the Rebel SDK as well. So it's really easy now to create your own external libraries without worrying about all the complexities as to how to compile things. That's all been done for you, and it's all part of the Rebel SDK. So if you want to develop any libraries, just download the Rebel SDK, and we will have the documentation which will show you how to define 3 functions, basically how to construct your library, how to destruct your library, and also what functions are available within your library that can be accessible from within the Rebel engine itself. So that's basically the main update. There's a few other things that I'd like to mention, but I don't know if I want to go back to you first.
Just a quick note for people like myself out there.
Yes.
So what this means really is that you don't have to know everything before you start getting stuck in creating games. You can just start with a smaller cut-down version that focuses only on what you want to build. If you have a small game idea, you can now do that. You don't have to do the big hurdles, the big step through the hoops to get going and start with your project. It's all smaller. It's built on tiny little project-based approach, so you can do whatever you want, especially if you're trying to learn something rather than have a 100-people team behind you to make a game. So if you just want to get up and running, you want to try things out, this is the way to do it.
No, exactly, and that's what we want to going forward as well, that we want other people to add to Rebel Engine. So if you want to add whatever functionality to Rebel Engine, if you want to add another physics engine, if you want to add whatever. The technology is developing so quickly out there. If you watch any of the technology information, if you want to add those tools to Rebel Engine, you should be able to just plug in your third-party library, create a little wrapper for it, and it will be available within Rebel Engine if people decide to use it or not. And the best bit is that if we put it on the Rebel marketplace, people will also be able to create add-ons for Rebel Engine, which can be open source, but also you could create closed source add-ons for Rebel Engine, which you can then sell through Rebel marketplace. So that will provide people with alternative mechanisms for making money, not just from creating games, but also from selling add-ons that they've created. But we've made it really easy for people to create add-ons, which was not the case in the past.
Exactly. So it's an exciting future ahead, lots of plans for next year, and all of this with the marketplace and being able for you to sell your own add-ons or put your own add-ons out there is all planned in for next year.
Exactly.
Yes. And for the naysayers out there that think that AI is going to take over everything, well, so what? It's never a bad time to learn a new skill and get on board with something creative like making a game or making the music and the score to a game or making the art to the game or making some library or modification to something that exists already. It's never a bad time. So again, come on board, join us, and have fun along the way.
Yep.
Yes. Quick update from my side. The grant ideas keep coming in. So every time I mention to somebody, oh, I'm writing a grant for our project, the Rebel Toolbox, they often get interested and then pass me on to, oh, have you heard about this one? And oh, there's something going on here. So I'm now working on another one, and fingers crossed that people will see the ideas behind Rebel Toolbox, not only Rebel Engine as the game engine, which obviously is the crown jewel, so to speak, but also the marketplace that we have mentioned just now, the different libraries that will be attached to it, the editor, the documentation around it, and all the individual pieces as they fit in together. So all of that will need a bit of funding so we can grow it quicker and better than we can do on our own, and things are going progressing well on that side.
Yeah.
That's it from me. From my
So the other thing I wanted to mention is also with the Rebel build action, which allows you to build Rebel in a standardized way without you having to worry about how to code and things like that again. Similar principle to the Rebel SDK that we wanted done for you. We can now test the various builds of Rebel across different compilers, different operating systems, and things like that. And the interesting thing is that different compilers identify different issues with the code base that we exist at the moment. And as you know, we've inherited this code base with all the flaws and historic technical debt that exists in there. And one of the things that comes up is that every time there's a new compiler, it identifies new issues with the code. So with the Rebel build action, now having a look at just basically compiling Rebel standardized way using different compilers. So just running them on GitHub, building it with different compilers on GitHub has identified a lot of new warnings. And what we want to do is treat all warnings as errors. So we won't allow to pass if you submit code that doesn't comply with the warnings that are being issued by the various compilers. So that has provided a lot of new insight into where to focus our attention in the new year for making Rebel more stable, more secure, and more performant going forward.
Yes. As we have mentioned, plans for next year are pretty much in. Plans always change, as many of you will know. So we have the framework around what we want to achieve for 2026 already. And if you want to see other features or other new stuff in Rebel, as well as more stability and more user friendliness, then do get in touch. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you would like to add to Rebel and the various tools within Rebel Toolbox so that we can deliver for you. So what do you want to see?
Yeah, and we don't really want game developers to provide us with what they want after. what they want interested in, not game engine developers so much. I mean,
Yes,
obviously,
it's the
contributors from game engine developers, but it's game developers that are the key focus of Rebel Engine.
yes.
We started with Rebel Engine because we create our own games, and therefore we see what's important and what's not, where the focus should be, and that is about making it easy for us to create games, and that's what we're trying to get with Rebel Engine.
Yes, and that means, good that you mentioned it, that we are making games ourselves. So we have an idea for another game that has been in the pipeline for longer than it should have. And next year we will be able to get back to it. So if there is any artist out there in terms of visual arts as well as audio arts, then do get in touch. It will be a FOSS project again, so we will put it out for anyone who would like to pay us. But currently, until it makes money for us, we can't offer to pay anyone. So if you want to be part of it and get a part of the share at the end, get in touch. If not, then make your own games. It's fun, it's creative, and it's a fun way of learning new skills.
Exactly.
Yes. An exciting 2026 is ahead. And with that, I just want to announce as well that we will have a community event again in December, the second Tuesday of the month, as always. It will be, again, as always, at 4 p.m. UTC. So check for your time zone, and we will see you then.
Sounds good.
Until then, bye bye.
Bye.